Hey there guys, Tommy at Hysteria Gaming, and I am bringing you a slightly belated but promised video on my new PC components which arrived last week or so. I promised I'd get around to doing this, and this includes my BenQ monitor, my new 120Hz monitor, which I promised I'd show to you guys, and I've done a quick review at the end of this video. That package we'll get into in 2 seconds, and I'm just showing here the you can see that Scan are meeting their sort of obligations to green, being green, and I mean, how much excess space is in this box? It's ridiculous. But I suppose things like HDDs have to be kept in transit quite still, so I suppose that's the reason for all this excess air packages. So you can see here in that original package we have 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance, and I went for the low profile version. I had 8 gigabytes of Kingston HyperX before, but wanted to upgrade. And you can see I got the low profile here because my CPU fan is quite low on the motherboard, and so in order for the RAM to fit effectively I need to go for the low profile version. And I've also upgraded the SSD from my old 60GB OCZ Agility 3 to 120GB Force 3, which is a lot faster and doesn't cause my PC to crash. As you can see, I've also upgraded the HDD to a 2TB Seagate Barracuda. The reason behind this is because HD files obviously take up a huge amount of space, and so I need more room. So that's just an extra drive, so to speak, because I need more room on my PC. Okay, so we're going to get into the BenQ box in here. Now, this was quite an expensive monitor, and I did a lot of research with some help from people on Twitter and YouTube, sort of giving me advice, and Jimmy Snakes ended up advising me to get this monitor, and I certainly haven't regretted it since, even though it was slightly more than there's a newer version which technically is capable of 144 Hz and also boasts of a 1 millisecond response time, and it's also slightly cheaper, but it lacks quite a few features of this monitor, and so I ended up going for this one, and I'll go into those reasons shortly. But you can see there it comes with a 120 Hz DVI cable, the DVI-D cable, and I guess that's the stand, and also a monitor cover in case you wanted to put it into transit and move it around or whatever, keep that beautiful screen safe. And this was kind of the orgasmic moment where I first got to see my new monitor. I mean, I've been first of all, for the first year of my PC build, I was using my LG TV, a 42-inch TV, which obviously looks great, but it doesn't have the response time and refresh rates that you need really for PC gaming to take it seriously. So this one is the replacement. I've been using my brother's Samsung SyncMaster for the last 6 months or something, and that's kind of okay, but the response time is like 8 milliseconds, and it's certainly, I don't think it's even a 60 Hz. It might be 60 Hz. Okay, so we can see that the monitor is now up and running in my system, and a shameless little YouTube plug there. The main difference for me over the other monitor I was looking at from BenQ is the adjustability of the patented stand that comes with this, and I don't believe it was a feature of the other one, but you can alter different angles depending on A, your viewer preference, and B, sort of sun glare or whatever you have where your setup is. You can also put it at this funny angle if you're required to do so. I do so because it makes it easier to access the cables when you're setting up and whatever, but I'm not really sure in what real life computer situation you'd want to do that. Maybe if someone could let me know in the comments below, that would be great. But you can see that on top of this you get 2 USB ports and also a headphone jack, and then I'll show you quickly at the back here that the sort of input points you get. Amongst other things, you get 2 HDMIs, although from knowledge the HDMI only actually covers the 60 Hz signal, so if you want to go for that full 120 Hz and a 3D Nvidia settings, then you need to be using the DVI-D cable. That is actually supplied with the monitor, and I didn't think it actually was, but it does seem to be carrying the signal well, so that's always good. The other main thing, of course, that the other monitor didn't come with is this S switch. Now, If you've used a BenQ monitor, you know that the buttons on the side you can see on the monitor are quite a pain and you have to cycle through them individually. Whereas this, you can first of all have presets for your monitor preferences, but you can also scroll through like a mouse wheel all the different settings, which is very helpful. And it's definitely a lot quicker and easier than the other alternative, because I've tried doing both. Obviously the quality of the screen can be noticed in Windows and during my editing, but as we Brits like to say, the proof is in the pudding, mostly when we're getting into gaming. And you can see here on Far Cry 3, you can check the frames per second on the top. They kind of average between, I guess, 60 and 70 frames per second, which is obviously not going to max out the potential of the screen. I need to be obviously reaching 120 frames per second to reach its full potential, but I'm not going to do that on one GTX580. But that isn't to say that I don't notice any difference. There's a lot less screen tearing. The response rate of the monitor obviously makes a big part in this as well, going from an 8 millisecond down to 2 millisecond. And I've definitely noticed the quality of my gameplay improving in the multiplayer Far Cry. And I guess even if I'm not reaching those targeted frames per second, you know, the extra 10, if say I was getting 80 frames per second in Far Cry 3, then my old 60 Hz monitor wouldn't be utilizing them. So this monitor obviously picks up anything over the 60 frames threshold, which can only be a good thing. And also in Battlefield 3, which I played for about 2 minutes before rage quitting earlier because I haven't played it in so long and I was so terrible, I'm getting a similar sort of 60 to 80 frames per second on Ultra, and definitely notice a fluidity in the movement. It seems a lot easier. I don't know if it's actually going to show in my videos, but what it should do is increase my productivity when I'm recording, because technically it should help me become a better player, because I'm getting all the benefits that my machine can offer. So the only thing that can actually be blamed from here on in is myself for being crap at the game. So now I have pretty much the only other thing I need to look at doing is getting an extra 580 to do an SLI. Anyway guys, the screenshot you can see here is an experiment for myself to try and promote awareness in YouTube viewers when it comes to small producers like myself. So don't forget to stay classy, YouTube, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.